Hey everyone, my name is Brendan Callan, and I'm really excited to be pursuing a career as a high school English teacher through GCU. So the teacher's role in supporting learning has to do with making sure you're always including students in the planning of classroom goals. So when I had a bunch of English language learners in my second grade class, I made sure that I was adapting math word problems so that they could comprehend them. And I was very resourceful in improving planning and practice. I was in charge of providing my team with the resources they needed for math activities and science experiments. Teachers need to know their students beyond the academic picture, so they must see students for what grades they get, but also their social and emotional behavior, because that will affect their learning and their interactions with you, the teacher, and the other students. And teachers need to genuinely listen and collaborate with each other. I had reading interventionists tell me that I needed to make sure I was finishing my whole group instruction by the time they came in to pull their students, so that my students were not missing whole group time or missing intervention time. And I accomplished this routine by observing my team lead and learning how to pace my lessons appropriately. So I possess a respect for diversity that's important for successful teachers. Two of my fourth grade students, John and Garrett, were having an argument. I heard John, who was white, telling Garrett, who was black, that he in fact was not black. So I explained to John at recess that Garrett just had a lighter skin complexion than some of the other black students in class, but he was still black. And I told him, more importantly, you and I, if there's ever somebody that has a skin color that's different than us, we shouldn't be telling them what race they are, because chances are they know that better than us. I told him, I know you didn't mean anything wrong by this, but now you do have this information, so you should apologize to Garrett. And he apologized to him, and everything was resolved. So I think with personal biases, if there was another teacher in this situation, and if they felt that this argument regarding race was too controversial, and decided not to get involved, I think that could negatively affect John and Garrett. John would often encourage Garrett and help him out in class, when appropriate, of course. So I think if a teacher did not help solve that social emotional conflict between those two students and do the research necessary, then those students would have lost their friendship, and there would have been academic peer support that would have been lost. So in order to meet the needs of Garrett, I did my own research. John Dale Crutchfield and her colleagues that I've cited conducted a research all about colorism in the United States school system. And they stated in their conclusion that teachers need to be providing targeted counseling and mediation to address and prevent colorist experiences from happening to students of color. So that was my intention. I wanted to make sure I didn't tolerate or minimize inappropriate behavior when it was observed, and I wanted to address and prevent these colorist experiences. So biases should be taken into perspective by understanding students beyond just their grades, like I've talked about. Teachers need to take time to understand student issues and concerns. So like what I just talked about, but also if a student is misbehaving, possibly reaching out to parents is a good way to eliminate bias, and make sure that you are responsible for every student. So if there's an uncomfortable situation, if they're in your class, you need to figure out how you can help out. So the dispositions I need to work on are primarily organization, making sure I grade things in a timely manner, and making sure I post those assignments so parents can view them. So I will uphold and adhere to these dispositions by constantly learning how to grow and how to improve my skill set for the sake of my students. And I will also make sure that I'm using diversity to cast a light on different perspectives and keeping my students at the center of planning, which will involve differentiation. And I'll also make sure I'm focusing on routines, specifically for English teachers in high school, and how to improve grading and sending those grades out. Thank you so much.